Welcome to a new online meditation center video. I got a question. And he or she says, is it possible to be completely aware while having a conversation with someone? Or is conversation only a mind's activity? So that's probably not possible. So, is it possible to be completely aware in complete meditation while talking to someone? Yes, it's completely possible. However, it might not be the easiest thing to do. As I said to this person, it's almost as a fine art being able to be completely aware, uncluttered, in pure meditation, while still keeping a conversation ongoing. And as the person is saying, it's a mind's activity, which is why it's so difficult. Because your mind and your ego and, the sense of self wants to participate. When you're talking to someone, you're not actually talking to that person. You're talking to your projection of that person. You're not actually listening to what that person is saying. You're listening to your version of what that person is saying. And then experiencing your version of that, you are already trying to say something back, to react to that, whatever that person is saying. So rather than listening completely, you're actually just waiting so you can say what you want to say, instead of completely listening and then responding. You're more just reacting to to the version you experience them saying. And so this is so deeply ingrained for most of us that even if you're able to meditate under a wide variety of different situations, as soon as you start conversing with somebody, you almost instantly fall back into your mind, your ego, whatever you want to call that thing. So the way to first how to prepare yourself in order to manage to have conversations in pure meditation, in pure awareness, you will have to kind of master the easiest steps, levels of meditating, and then progressing to harder and harder tests or situations, you could say. So you start by learning how to meditate while laying in the bed and just being yourself in a dark room. And then you progress to sitting in a lit room, sitting up with your eyes closed and meditating. And then the next level is with your eyes open, but still sitting and meditating. The next level could be walking from one room to another room in your own house, being completely aware, completely silent. And then you could try to walk outside while being completely silent, inside. And then you could try walking around in town where there are lots of people and moving pieces and parts, and still be silent inside. Still be completely aware. Maybe you should try walking in nature, in the woods, before walking in town. And then you could try watching a movie, being completely silent inside, and just listening to the conversations going on in the movie, without creating any kind of reaction, mentally speaking. Just watching, listening purely to the entire movie. Everything that happens both in the movie and in real life elicits reflex thoughts. You could say something happens and you automatically think something. That's good, that's bad, that's not optimal, that should be like this should be like this shouldn't be that way. And watching a movie, you react like that continuously to everything that happens. But since you're not actively actually engaged in the movie, that's a pretty good tool to learn how to meditate, to be non-reactive and simply open and listening while stuff is happening. People shouting, making love, killing each other, aliens coming, everything that might happen in a movie. And you just sit there and be aware of your own silent existence while taking in everything that happens. And when reactive thoughts appear, you simply let them be, and you keep on focusing on the movie. Now, when you can do that, you can watch whichever movie and stay in meditation throughout the entire movie. That's when you might start to be kind of ready to stay in meditation while talking to someone. You don't have to follow this, but it might be helpful to try more and more difficult ways of meditating. Just medicate yourself and then go do it now. And in the videos I have on this channel, there are a lot of meditation tips. And on the website onlinemeditationcenter.com, there are a lot of meditation tips that will guide you through these different levels, you could say. I also have a book which is called Approaches and Techniques of Meditation or something like that. I can't even remember, but you will find it on the website. So this will be able to help you go through all of these stages. Now, in order to meditate while having a conversation, there are many aspects that will make themselves known in you and also in the other person. First, you have to completely detach from yourself and your ideas and judgments of that person and what that person is saying. As soon as you form a judgment and you believe that and you pay attention to that, you are actually pulled away from the moment and into the dream in your mind. So you will have to listen completely, accept completely what that person is saying. No judgment. Just listen. Take in the moving image of that person. Take in the sounds of that person's voice and what that person is saying, the meaning of the words. Just take it all in. No filter in you. Don't react to it. Don't wait for anything to say back. Just listen. As if that's the only thing that exists. And in a real sense, while you're talking to that person, that is the only thing that exists in your reality, in your experience. So you just listen. And when it's time for you to answer, when that person is finished with saying whatever he or she is saying, then don't think about what you're gonna say back. Let your answer spontaneously well up. And this is the next difficult part. Because you will have to trust your being, that which is actually watching, that silent witness which is watching out through your eyes, which exists, which is actually living your life, whether you're thinking or not. You will have to trust that to answer. If you start calculating in your mind something clever to answer back, then you're already lost from the meditation. So you will have to simply sit there, listen completely, and when it's natural in the course of the conversation that you answer, simply stay in the stillness and let your being speak. You will have to trust completely, because there's so much fear surrounding this. Fear of what you might say, what you should say, what the other person is expecting you to answer or say. But again, what you believe that person is expecting you to say is your own projection. You're actually just projecting everything and then experiencing your own projection. You're not actually experiencing that thing as it is. You're not actually hearing what that person is trying to say. You're hearing your interpretation of that. So just relax and accept everything. And you will respond. So don't be afraid of there not being any response. Surely, in some conversations, that other person might be saying just some bullshit, and for you to answer would only be, there's so many times we're talking about things that mean nothing. So in those situations, you might actually not find a response to well up spontaneously, because your being hasn't got anything to say. So at that point, you'll just sit and wait and see what happens. Or you can choose to say something. But don't get stressed out and don't start to manipulate your thoughts in order to come up with something clever to respond. Just exist in the silence. And this is hard, and different people will elicit different feelings in you. So some people, it might be quite easy to stay in meditation while conversing, while other people it might be almost impossible. But it is possible, but it might be very difficult. Like balancing on a thin line. And anything you do might tip you over the edge. And also there's another aspect of this, which it's funny and it makes it difficult. And that is, most people when we're talking, it's mind interacting with mind, ego interacting with ego. And both mind and ego is layers in front of our being. That's how we can chit-chat about bullshit things, meaningless things, because it's just bouncing back and forth. Mind to mind, it's nothing of substance. It's not really, we're just talking. But when you meditate while conversing, when you're completely silent and aware, and you watch that person's eyes, you're not going to be thinking about a lot of different things, bouncing back and forth in your own head, thinking about what to say back, and all of these things going on that keeps us at a distance when we're talking to each other. No, you'll be completely present. And what happens often is that since you're completely present while listening to that person talking, something might happen to that person. He or she might start, because you're actually looking through their mind, through their ego, through the identity that they believe themselves to be, and into their being. You're connecting being to being without them even knowing it. But if they are a little bit aware, you will start to see that they might suddenly become a little weirded out. It's like suddenly they start thinking, why looking at me like that? You know, they might not say it, or they might say it because they sense that shit, this person is kind of, undressing me with their eyes, but not in a physical way, taking off their clothes, but taking away their mental noise. You're seeing them, the being which is lurking inside. So even if you're hearing everything they're saying, your mind isn't connecting to their mind. Your being is pushing through their mind noise and into their being. And this will, in the beginning, take you out of the meditation state as well, because you'll get weirded out, because suddenly you're swimming in this aware ocean and you see them as what they are. And they start noticing, and something is weird, but they don't know why. So you'll get kinda, so that's another hindrance, you could say, that you will have to overcome if you're to meditate completely while having a conversation, because it becomes so intimate. Nothing is more intimate than if two people which is completely aware in pure meditation is talking to each other. That's the closest you can ever come to another being. Two people not in meditation having sex is not more intimate, but two sets of eyes looking into each other, completely aware and awake. That's the most intimate situation that exists. Of course, you can keep that in all your endeavors. But in a way, this is being so aware while talking to people. They might get offended, because their egos or their minds feel, as I said, as if you're undressing them. You're seeing who they are. And they might not even know who they are. 95%, 99% of all human beings have no idea who they are. But talking to someone that are completely aware will stir their sleep. And so there's a lot of different aspects of being completely aware and silent while talking to someone else that will be barriers you will have to cross in order to be able to keep that awareness intact. But if you learn how to stay there and trust, it's beautiful. It's perfect. And also you will have to know when, because you will know that it is intense. And talking to some people, you might not want to do that as much. You can stay in meditation, but you might not delve so deeply into their eyes, because they might get angry, So then you might just let your sight wander a bit, because it's very easy when you're meditating to just dive deeper and deeper and deeper into the soul of that person without it being weird, without you meaning anything. But some people might take that as, what you looking at, bitch? So you need to kind of see who you're talking to and then judge how much to watch straight into the eyes, even if you're innocent and doing it from a space of silence. It might not be taken that way from the other side. But you will feel these things, And if you can't feel it, they will make it very clear to you. But being in meditation while having a conversation does not have to be a mind activity. You just have to practice. And it's often okay to practice, with easier things first, First in your bed, then sitting, then walking around, then watching a movie, and then, climbing the meditation difficulty ladder. So yeah, hope that was helpful, and have a great day.